I'll just let that hang as the intro, because we just went live as soon as he said that.
I contributed.
So, last time, they were...
Lolly, you can be heard from James' mic, by the way.
Yeah.
Well, that's a great intro.
Yep. So, last time, what happened was, I don't remember. Okay.
I do. That's a good thing I do remember. We were transported to the fire.
Yeah,
Sea of flame.
before that, you banished the creature that was in the outpost.
Mm-hmm.
And you started a fire for... I don't remember why. You guys started a fire in the outpost. And you guys had to be... well, you didn't have to. It just ended up happening that you got teleported to a different plane. And you were stuck on a little rock in the middle of a large expanse of flames. And a bunch of things went wrong before they went right. Like you saw another platform and you were going to attempt to get to it, but then you found out they couldn't fly long enough, all that stuff, or lift people or things like that. And then for some reason the other platform vanished because apparently within a mile all plants died, and apparently that had something to do with it. And you guys eventually fought this weird gremlin-looking creature, and you decided to kill it even though it was way too far away for it to do anything to you anymore. It was trying to run away and you just sniped it off.
Just to be sure. You never know when it will return.
Either way. So you guys decided to skip along the flames using a interesting trick with water canteen.
Decant of endless water.
Yeah. And you started flying along, and
like a skipping stone across the flames.
Yes. And you ran into an interesting character. Now that we actually have the document, I can look it up.
We came across a djinn in how do you call those things?
Chariot.
Chariot, that one.
I'm looking up his name since I came.
You didn't name him, if I recall.
Yes, I did, because Goroth asked his name. His name is Hosmeesh. Hosmeesh. And if you don't know where I'm pulling this from, you guys can look at it as well. I'll throw it in the Google Hangouts chat. Somebody at one point was going to record every session in relative detail and write down all the NPCs and everything, but they were only here until like session
22.
So they stopped doing that. But if you want to look at some of the beginning stuff, you'll see what he wrote. But beneath that is a list of characters, names, locations, any other useful information that you might want to get from them. about them. He's been keeping track of that now. So you guys can look at that anytime. I have it bookmarked personally, but that's up to you how you want to do it. So let's see. So Hosmish was on this chariot, just sort of going about his merry way, when you guys pulled up on a skipping rock, and you guys started to communicate with him, though through Goroth, because he doesn't speak common, and I have a feeling that nobody else, or even nobody in the group currently, speaks any of the elemental languages,
Nope.
so you wouldn't.
Unless Alatar all of a sudden knows one we didn't know about.
I don't think he does either. In the book, you can learn the elemental languages all at once, but you can also learn them individually. There's 4 of them for the 4 different elements. Things like fire elementals and things like that, they usually don't learn common because they're from a different plane of existence. So they have their own elemental languages. Especially like regular fire elementals. They take command orders and things like that, but they usually don't speak common due to the fact that they don't have much intelligence in the first place. But they do speak the elemental languages that they're associated with. Either way, so you guys pulled up alongside him and hopped into his chariot. He has a magical space beneath his chariot. You're not sure how it works, but he opens the trap door and you can stay in there, and you were with him for a few days. You found out that he has some not so good intentions for Decif, which is the Jinn from the plane of air that you were sort of helping. And he apparently knows of Decif. So you're not sure what you guys are going to actually do about that. I haven't heard any plans yet, so I'm not sure, but you guys might be. So you guys hit the wall of ash, if I remember correctly.
Yes, we were in the chariot by the time.
Yes, you guys entered the chariot. And that was where we left off. So, I also forgot that James wasn't here. So the interesting things along his character's story, I actually have to go back and do something. So we'll get to that in a minute. But you were kind of just sort of just taking it in when you guys got teleported to a different location. And you decided to attempt to contact your patron. I did that. I took a liberty in saying that you would do that. And you were out for a little while. You were out for the entire fight with the weird goblin thing. You were in a trance, so you didn't really see what was happening or realize what was happening, that anything bad was happening. And so that happened. I'll get to the trance in a minute, what happened. You reported to the group that your patron was going to try to help you. You weren't sure how.
And that it was kind of hard for us plane shifting so much.
Yeah, it was hard for him to try to contact you because he was going to try to contact you about something important, if you remember, later on. So he was saying that it was kind of hard trying to keep track of you just plane jumping like this. Because in the past, like, week, you've been in 3 different planes of existence, so he's having a hard time. But either way, let's see. You were sort of conversing with Hosmish a little bit. You were sort of asking about his. He has horses made of flame that pull his chariot. You were asking him about those, and you were asking him a couple of other questions that were just sort of small talk. And you sort of watched his flaming horses for a while during those few days that you were with Hosmish. And now you're stuck in. I'll re-describe the room to get everybody into it, but James hasn't seen this room, so basically it's a relatively large chariot. He's considered a large creature, and he has extra space for supplies on the chariot, which you guys looked at, but there wasn't anything too interesting. It was just sort of like food and stuff like that. And he showed you originally, he opened this trap door that's on his chariot, and there's a room underneath, which is, it's got a huge bed inside, so it's probably for him to rest in usually, but he's been letting you guys in there since you guys were stranded on a rock in the middle of an ocean of fire, basically. So he was willing to let you try that out. And it's basically just a large bed that you guys can sit on or not. And there's like a bench on the opposite side of the room from the bed. And not much else. It's pretty relatively bare, minimalistic is the word I was looking for. And there's maybe a decorative vase with nothing in it on a little nightstand type table, but not much else in this room. And he said that you've had to stay into this room until he passed through the wall of ash, which, again, I'll encourage you to look at if you guys have a Dungeon Master guide, or
which I do online. That is at page something I don't recall.
I don't have the page saved or anything, but if you do have one, it's near.
I got the page 57.
57. Yes, it's a section called The Planes, I think. Creating a Multiverse, it's chapter 2. 57. Oops, I went past it. Because this is what I'm basing 50. Oh, I'm on 67. That's why it looks weird.
Yeah, that explains a lot. You need to go 10 back.
Yeah. So, there's a picture there which shows the plane of water, the plane of earth, the plane of fire, and the plane of air surrounding the material plane, the Shadowfell, and the Feywild. That is what I'm basing this world's planes off of. So, you guys were in the location labeled the Sea of Fire, or Sea of Fire, and you're currently headed into the Great Conflagration.
Yep.
Whatever it's called, which is also known as the Plane of Ash, which is why you encountered like a wall of bits and pieces of ash just floating around in the air, blowing around, whipping around at violent speeds. Because it's where the plane of air and the plane of fire connect. So there's little bits of the fire elements whipping around, which is what the ash is, and the wind, which is blowing the ash around. So, yeah, so you guys probably wouldn't survive a trip through it, which is why he's suggesting that you remain in this room. You're not sure how long you're going to have to remain in this room. And while he's traveling, if you're going to trust him, though in the previous session he gave you some reasons not to, but if you're going to trust him, you're probably going to have to remain in there for days at least. So, if he's actually going the way that he said he was going, which I guess you guys are assuming that he's going to do that, it's going to take a few days at least to get through this. So what do you guys want to do? You're stuck in this room with a bed, and an end table with a vase on it, and
is there perhaps any sand in the room by any chance?
Why don't you make an investigation check?
Okay, let me roll that up. Investigation. 25. Not a natural 20, sadly enough, but close.
Alright, you look around the room. The floor is made of tile, and the walls are made of what look like solid chunks of marble, and the floor is made of marble tiles, and the connector pieces appear to be made of some sort of shiny metal. In here, this room is lit up by torchlight. That the torches are along the walls, and it's kind of hard to tell based on how much light is in here because it's considered low light in here. But either way,
I do have dark vision, so yeah, I can see, but not in color completely.
Yeah, you can still see. It's just a little bit harder. It's low light, not complete darkness. So there's still a little bit of light flickering around and whatnot. And it seems like some sort of shiny metal is connecting like the solid chunks of marble that are the walls and the solid marble floor tiles. Not sure what it is, but you found it with that investigation. Either way, the bed seems like a normal bed, very minimalist. It's not like decorative or anything, just plainly colored sheets and whatnot. Wooden bed frame, everything. Simple woods. The bench is relatively simple make. The cushion is relatively comfortable for just being a seat and no back. But it's relatively comfortable for what it is. And there's the vase, which is what you're going to probably be interested in. You have a look inside the vase. The vase is filled to the brim with sand.
Ooh. Take a few hands.
Alright.
And, well, start working on the sand-making lenses.
Alright. So, I'll say that the entire process, like making sure that it's smooth and everything, will take at least a day or two. So you're going to be down here for a few days, so you can do that.
Yeah, I do have all the materials needed to do so. I mean, I have the tools and the skills for it to do so.
Yeah. So you see Aro-san reaching into the vase, pulling some stuff out, and then using his refining tools to attempt to do something. You're not entirely sure. But either way, he's doing something.
My character skips over to him. Awesome! What are you doing?
So I was like, just holding a half-made lens, and he's going like, making glass?
It looks like fun! I want to help!
No, this is a very precise and peculiar piece of work.
I'm peculiar!
Well, is there a volume button on you? Because you're loud.
I can be louder!
No, the other way around, I want it.
I can be quieter.
That's better.
Okay, I want to help. How can I help?
Well, actually, not because because I just have tools for one man. So, sorry.
Let me check my inventory. Dang it, I have no tools.
Yeah, I'm just a walking workshop, basically.
My character will grab a couple of your tools, maybe a hammer and a file. Here you go. Here you go.
Well, those aren't needed.
I'm helping. I'll hold them. I'm helping.
Well, maybe you can help Alatar. Perhaps he needs some help. My hammer, my file, I do need them back.
She goes off with your file and your hammer.
Lily!
What?
My stuff!
It's mine now, bye.
No, it's not! If she starts walking away just with my stuff, I'm gonna shoot fireballs
Perfect.
at her.
She's not walking. She's skipping.
Okay, she's skipping away. If she's moving away from me, I start firebolting her. Like, get back here with my stuff!
I'll dodge it! No, I won't, but I'll try.
Okay, he has to roll to hit you.
Oh god, this is a bad idea.
26!
Shoot! Yeah, man, that hits. Do I get a dex save or anything like that?
No! It's
Nope.
a cantrip.
It's a cantrip. He's just using a ranged magical attack to hit you.
Oh, I thought you said fireball, firebolt. Okay,
Yeah,
perfect.
bolt. That's a big difference.
That is a big difference. She's still skipping.
And she just
And
gets
takes
one
11
fireball
damage.
right up the ass.
Why? Why? She's a delicate little flower.
Well, then she shouldn't have walked away with my tools. She was
I know.
warned.
Oh, I know.
So, what happened?
Lily says, why would you do that?
I warned.
Why would you do that?
I warned you, and you just kept walking away with my stuff.
Amazon, you're so mean!
Well, you're too. You just walk away with stuff when I asked them back. Claim them as your own.
They're
When
mine,
they're
but
not.
you can have them back! And she runs off crying.
Arsa just goes after, trying to get back his stuff.
She threw him down. Your file and your hammer, she threw him down and ran off crying.
Picks it up and then sits back where I was working on the glass. And goes like, great, now I have to start over again with that one.
Sorry about that.
Yeah, glass making is a very delicate process.
Yes, it is.
Goroth is just laying in the bed trying to sleep.
What are you doing? Perhaps anything?
Yeah, Alatar, what you witness this happen?
I'm just laughing.
You know, Arisa has temper tantrums. You know he has that.
I'm just watching and laughing. I'm being left alone.
Oh, if only. If only you hadn't said that. Right, Lily?
She's still crying. You have hurt her emotionally.
Well, she also knows that Arisa can throw temper tantrums like she can, so...
She's still hurt. Give her about a minute and she'll be fine.
Yeah, and she then bother someone else.
Basically. Or you again.
Well, by that time, he has told DT to keep her away for a little while.
Okay.
Which DT is also in the room, but he's not really doing much.
Okay. Now that Lily is happy, I'm going to go over to James's character and start trying to tickle him. Tickle, 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 tickle.
Alright, Alatar, you're being tickled.
Oh god.
Tickle, tickle.
It tickles.
Tickle, 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 tickle.
I'll fucking throw you.
You wait, aren't you in heavy armor?
He can still try if he wants.
Yep.
He still has to be real strong to throw her with heavy armor.
If
Only
he's
one.
below the threshold on his stats, then he can attempt to miraculously roll high enough.
Yeah, so
I'm
amaze
also-
us.
I'm 40-something pounds. My splint mail is like 60, plus the rest of my gear is... Basically, I'm 150 pounds total. You could throw me.
Oh no, remember I have a -1 on
he's-
strength.
Oh
Yeah.
god.
Oh, weakling.
I think you're gonna need a natural.
Let's find out. Let's see if I can do it. Nope, that ain't gonna happen.
You almost do.
You just like pick her up and
You lift
move
her
her
up
1
about
inch.
you lift her up about 3 inches before your back says, "No, this isn't gonna happen."
Yeah, she'll scream, "Put me down, put me down, put me down, put me down, put me down!"
How about fail?
Your face is a fail!
Someone's getting burned.
Yeah, it was me.
Literally and figuratively.
Goroth just lights a little flame on the end of his finger and then extinguishes it, and it goes up.
Why are you so bitter,
Sorry? What did you say?
Gora? Why are you so bitter,
He just rolls over in the bed and looks away from you.
I'm turning into my daughter.
Wait, 3?
Yeah.
Well, we're having fun. That's the important part.
Okay, you people are boring. I'm gonna go sit down in the bed.
Well, okay.
She's just sitting.
Well, I might have something to ask you all. Do you have something broken, perhaps, that I can fix? I don't know.
My heart!
Physically to fix, not mentally.
Nada.
Don't you still have Alatar's gun? Oh yeah,
I
that
only
was
gave-
another thing.
I only gave it back and fixed it.
You fixed it and gave it back?
Yeah.
Okay. That was another thing. Alatar, you have had a broken gun in your inventory?
I did, yeah.
And now you're fully functioning one.
He stole it, and I came to your defense saying that you wanted to figure out something to do with it. You weren't sure what, but you wanted to do something with it. And he said that he was just going to fix it. So,
Cool.
So he has fixed it and has returned it. So you can put in your inventory a pistol.
Pistol. Cool.
Boom.
Lily, where'd you go?
Hi.
So
Oh hell no, you ain't doing that.
Also, you can get the stats for one if you want. I'm sure Geo has the stats for that.
For
somewhere.
just normal pistol.
Yeah, just a regular pistol that anybody can use.
Well, you
I'm sure
do
you
have to
have
be
those
proficiency in firearms, or
I'm gonna say
well,
that
let me just check, because I did see a few times pistol in my magical list that's online.
it is a I'm gonna say that it's a weapon that can be used by anyone who can use a simple ranged weapon.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I can use it
you
then.
need to roll 1d10 of piercing damage. And the attack, well, I think that's Dex
It's
plus
Dex.
proficiency.
Yeah. So you can put those stats in.
Yeah, but you do need to be proficient in firearms and martial weapons, sadly enough.
What I'm gonna say is that pistols have existed in the universe, and if you're trained in simple weapons, then you can use a simple pistol or a musket.
Okay.
But more complicated weapons, you would need better proficiencies.
Oh, then I'm good.
So, pistols and muskets. Regular pistols and regular muskets are fine.
Yeah, so
Otherwise,
Arson is basically, he can use any kind of gun that he can find.
Yeah, because he has the proficiencies. But regular muskets and regular pistols, I'm going to say, are simple ranged weapons.
Cool.
So, 1d10, was it?
Yeah, 1d10
Yeah.
of piercing.
Alright. That's a decent weapon.
Yeah, but there's the loading aspect, and I don't see...
So basically, he'd have to take... Is it an action or a bonus action?
Action to fire, bonus action to reload. Basically how Aerosol does his thing.
Okay. So you would have to take... You would have to use your action and then your bonus action in order to load it again.
Yeah.
Okay.
So...
the only plus side on your thing is that it can't go broke on a natural 1.
Yeah. So if you get a natural 1, then it can
break again.
Misfire or overheat or something like that to prevent it from working.
Okay.
And you basically have to use an action in order to fix it, whatever the problem is.
If you can fix it at all, it is.
Yeah. That's true, but as long as he doesn't get a natural 1, then that doesn't matter. But either way, so you have that now. So you can name it whatever you want. I don't care, but it's a weapon that you can use. You can use it instead of your crossbow if you want, but you also have a crossbow. And I don't remember when you found that broken gun. I don't remember when that was. So
been a while.
Yeah. So I don't know if I gave it any particular appearance, but it's probably just regular metal and wooden gun, that sort of thing.
Okay.
So brown woods, gray metals, that sort of thing. Nothing fancy, but now that it's repaired, it can actually do something. So you can. I took the liberty of saying that you might try to funnel magic through it, but that's up to you if you want to actually do that.
Think about it.
I said that you weren't sure what you wanted to do with it, and that might be one of the things you wanted to do. So, in character as your character. So, I hope you don't mind me taking that liberty. But either way,
very good.
Okay, so you guys are going to be stuck in here for a couple of days, at least. So, Arosan has at least one thing on his to-do list. Anything on your guys's?
Annoy everybody, but not intentionally.
Alright.
Well, if you're going for Aerosol, DT instantly tries to stop you, just picks you up and puts you somewhere else down.
She will probably run away, crying for a half a second, and then back up to doing other stuff like tickling, watching, stuff a toddler would do.
Yeah.
Alatar, anything?
No, I'm good right now.
Alright. Well, you're going to be here for a couple of days, so your character's just going to sit around and watch for a couple of days? I'll give you some time to think.
Perhaps ask Arison how he can have so many bullets but never runs out.
He can decide if he wants to do that, but
Just a suggestion.
yeah, I do have things for him though. So there are some things that are going to happen for Alatar. So we'll get to that in a minute. Goroth, I'm going to take the liberty. Since he's not here, there's a few things that he might want to do based on his character. He's definitely going to be fiddling around with something magical. Going to be wiggling his fingers, creating little magical energy to see if he can more easily control it.
The wild magic, but as soon as Arison notices it, he just points a gun at him and says, "Don't you dare teleport us again!"
I'm not doing that strong of magic. I'm just focusing my energy, see if I can more easily focus it.
Just make sure you don't do it.
No, I'll do it if I want. Well, I can't control it anyway, but I don't think I can. He starts looking up. Well, it seems like I only teleport when I'm in danger anyway, so don't
Danger,
worry.
you say? Right, and last time was definitely danger.
The whole outpost was gonna burn down.
Oh yeah, also much danger. It was just a tiny fire which you could just extinguish, which you did, but you also teleported us.
Well, I assume I did. But yeah, I probably did.
So what danger?
Well, maybe there was something else there. I don't know. When you attacked me before, we teleported to the plane.
We didn't attack you! You were the bad guy!
So you're blaming Goroth? Are you?
Yes.
Okay. He goes, he attacked me.
No, it didn't.
You were the bad guy! Of course stuff happened!
Really?
Sorry.
He just glares at Edo-san.
You can glare all you want. I just ordered DT to move you away. And keep you away.
Oh, so when DT moves people, he pins them to the ground.
Because you were trying to dodge him. I can't help it that he used that protocol.
I wasn't struggling until he pinned me to the ground and was threatening me with his fist.
Like I said, I can't help it that he used that protocol.
Well, who made the machine?
I did, but I just
It's your fault.
ordered
It's your
him to
fault.
pick up and move
You
away.
told him, you gave him that protocol, so it's your fault. Your fault.
So yeah, it's also your fault that you teleported us.
Because I was in danger.
I think you just need to learn to control your magic better.
That's what I'm doing, and you threaten me to stop.
Okay, just don't overdo it. I don't like to be teleported to this time to the plane of water.
Maybe next time I'll go to the Shadowfell.
Well, what's the worst that can happen there?
I don't know. I don't think I've been there before.
Or we are going to Limbo. Much pleasure and fun there.
Well, then, at least I'll be at home.
Yeah, that's true. Still need a portal out of there.
What? It's not like it was that bad.
No, not for you, but for us it will be. I mean,
Oh.
could you imagine it? 3 people like me?
Who said that there were going to be 3 people like you there?
Well, I'm counting myself, I'm counting Lily, and I'm counting Alatar. I do read up about certain planes, and Limbo is not the nicest one to people's mind.
Oh. They wouldn't be as bad as you, that's for sure.
No, they would be worse.
No. Can't be worse than you.
They could be like me!
You said?
Even better.
They could be like me!
He nods.
So, so just reaches in his pouch and he says, "You can have this 10 gold lily if you can prove to me, to Groff, that you're more annoying than me."
I'm more annoying, I'm more annoying, I'm more annoying. This is a challenge. I'm more annoying, I'm more annoying!
He just continues practicing his magic.
I will poke him to stop him from doing somatic anything.
And then he just keeps going. He moves over a little bit and keeps going.
I move with him.
He moves again.
I make a weird face too.
He goes, "No, he's more annoying."
I'm more annoying, I'm more annoying, I'm more annoying! This is 10 gold, I'm more annoying, I'm more annoying, I'm more annoying!
Best
No.
10 gold ever.
No.
I'm more annoying, I'm more annoying, I'm more annoying, I'm more annoying!
You may try harder to be annoying, but he is definitely, naturally more annoying.
Oh, he just called you out! Oh God. Okay. I'm gonna grab his mouth so he can't do any vocal components. Or vocal.
He just looks at you, and he is
Hi!
going to
Hi!
just do a dex roll at advantage.
Advantage.
Yes, because he can just activate that, and then I'm going to roll on his wild surge.
Damn it!
So, because he can activate his ability at any time as long as he's cast a spell in between or rested. So, he hasn't used it in a long time, so
Long time, quote.
let's see, what's his dex? His dex is 2. So he gets a +2. And he takes the higher of the 2 rolls. 1, 2.
18.
Oh.
No, that's not the wild magic yet. The wild magic is coming.
Yeah. So he does an 18 as his lips dexterously just move out from under your fingers. And he's going to activate his wild magic,
Oh boy.
which is just a D100. 11. Now I have to pull up the document he sent me.
Phew, that isn't the worst. Luckily.
Did he send you the document too?
No.
Gah. Because I don't have it here.
Uh-oh.
I'll have to look through my thingamabob.
Your
here it is.
thingamabob.
My, Facebook.
Your Facebook?
My Facebook.
His Facebook.
My feces block. My block of feces.
My book face.
I heard your feces.
My feces block. It's a block of feces.
Okay, we're instantly age restricted. Yay!
I didn't know you could get age restricted for saying feces.
Well, certain videos are if you do your research. Here I go! Onto the blacklist of YouTube. Hooray!
Monetized, right?
No,
I'm
he's
not
not
even
Oh, he does it
monetized
then.
anyway.
But still, you
Alright,
can get
11.
age restricted and go to limbo of YouTube.
Okay. 11. Oh, his stupid thing is all formatted wrong.
So
At
what
least
doesn't?
for the program I'm using, it's all formatted weirdly. I forgot about that. Okay, creatures have disadvantage on saving throws against the next spell you cast in the next minute that involves a saving throw. So it's
Yay!
going
Nothing
to
bad.
literally do nothing. That's a shame. Because he has some pretty... He has the book results for the first 50, and then the second 50 are his own custom results, which I approved all of them. So there are some interesting ones on there. So, even the book has some interesting ones, like he can get turned into a potted plant. Yeah, literally nothing happens. And he just goes, "Stop it. You're not gonna get that 10 gold."
Oh, why not? You promised me stuff.
I also just turns towards him. I'm gonna give her that 10 gold if she succeeds.
She won't succeed.
You're making my heart hurt.
It's a compliment. You're not as annoying as him.
That's fair.
He just leans back and continues trying to practice his magic.
So I also just holds 10 gold like 10 gold.
Shoot. Okay, she's gonna go for it.
Right?
I'm gonna gnaw on your hair.
My hair.
He doesn't have any hair.
Yes, you do.
He looks at his head. I don't see anything.
Lily goes to gnaw on his head.
Oh, okay.
Oh God.
So he just sits there.
Why do you hate me?
I don't. That's the point.
I thought we were friends.
You want me to hate you?
Yes.
He goes,
Best session ever.
but no. And he just sits there
on the floor and
he-
starts crying.
He is going to go over to Arosan. Let's see if Arosan allows this. He's
Oh,
not
what?
trying to hide it.
What's he gonna do?
He's going to roll a d20.
Oh
Are you
boy.
going to resist this?
If I know what it is.
He's reaching out towards your hand that has 10 gold in it.
I also goes like DT, smack his hands away.
DT just reaches out towards him, but he's still going to attempt. Which is a...
And if he's gonna try snatches, then also just lets all the gold fall in his bag of holding.
Alright. If he doesn't succeed, that is. Let's see. I need you to roll just a regular dex for DT.
Oh, DT even.
It's going to be trying to stop this.
Net.
Alright. He gets his hand swatted away. He doesn't say anything, and he's going to try again unless if you do something.
So I also just puts the gold in the bag of holding, turns around, just sits like, are you gonna admit it?
He goes, I like Lily more than you, at least. And then he starts reaching towards your bag of holding.
Then he hears a clicking sound like.
10 gold.
Hold on, Lily. So then he hears a cooking sound like, you don't want to do that.
But I get my 10 gold.
Yeah, you get your 10 gold, but I mean to.
Yay!
So
He's
Arizona
reaching
reaches
for the
in and
bag.
gives her the 10 gold.
Oh, you're giving her 10 gold?
Yay!
As you're about to try to reach towards her to give it to her, he's going to try to take it from you.
That's a problem. That's a problem for Goraf, cause Arizona just cocked his gun ready to fire. It goes like, you don't want to do that.
You don't want to do that.
He has a 10 dex. Are you going to just shoot him, or are you going to try to move your hand away? You can't do both.
Let me see. Do I have anything that can make his time even more less fun? Nope. I'm just going to swat it away.
Alright. You're going to have to roll over a 10 with your dex, which you do. And you manage to just move your hand out of the way. And now he's standing between you and Lily.
Lily,
Yes?
if you can get him away from me, then I can give you your 10 gold.
And he's going to reach for your hand again.
Why would
What?
you do this?
Oh
18.
God.
This time he manages to grab the 10 gold from your hand. I'm going to give you a chance to react if you wish.
So looks like, yes, your 10 gold now.
And then he turns around and gives her the 10 gold.
Yay!
And he says, "'Cause I like her more than you."
I like you too.
He goes back to the bed.
Too bad I don't.
Gold from you and give it to her.
Well, which I already was planning to pay to her.
Yeah, well, he thinks that it's better that he gives it. And you seemed reluctant, but when you started doing it and you swatted his hand away, he did it out of principle. So he just went and sat down.
Do you know those small little fireworks, if you throw them on the ground, that they explode, so to say?
What's explode?
No, I'm just asking out of character here now.
Oh, sorry.
Do they
You know
explode?
those? Do you know those small, tiny little fireworks when you like throw them at the ground that they go pop bang?
Are they
They're
fake
like bangers, huh?
gold? Are
What
they
did you say?
fake gold?
Oh no, they're called here in Holland. They're called bangers.
What's
So
it called
it's
here?
gold? Is it gold?
No.
You throw them at the ground and they go pop.
Yes.
Oh, you're
Are they
asking
white?
what are you asking? I think I'm lost.
Yeah, I'm asking if you know what those are called.
Oh,
Are they white and really small?
Yeah, they're tiny and they're in a kind of white
I
little
have 'em.
bundle.
Poppers, right?
Yeah, poppers,
Oh.
bangers.
okay.
Yeah.
I think I'm a little lost. Why are you asking me that? Or anybody?
Well, Harrison just gonna take one bullet from his arcade magazine, open it up, get a piece of paper so that it works like a popper or a banger, and then throw it at Gorov.
Oh God.
Oh,
Okay.
They are harmless. They don't do any damage. They're more like
Poppers.
bang.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're for show.
He just
Yeah.
he gets hit in the side of the face and then he goes, and he's actually going to cast. He's getting annoyed at you now.
Shield.
He has Firebolt, so he's just gonna cast that.
Oh boy.
So, is that a reaction? You don't know that he's going to cast that at you until he does so. So, he's going to do this without the shield first.
Yeah, and I have a 20 on the dodging. So that's a damage that. Oh,
It's a
firebolt.
Firebolt.
Yeah, that hits.
Alright. So then I click Firebolt.
But no, wait. I cast my shield, so that actually.
I'm saying that he cast it before you realized that he was going to cast a spell on you. So the first hit is going to be without the shield, as I said. And then you can cast the shield after.
Okay.
So, 10 damage.
So Erso goes like.
And then he looks at you. You still want to be
worse.
You still want to be an asshole?
Should I, Lily? Should I do this burn against him? Because he's making it real.
Why do you gotta be so mean? Erotar, why are you gonna be so mean?
Oh, I get annoyed easy.
You're mean.
Well, he's mean to me now, right now.
He is mean, but you don't have to be so mean. And stuff.
So I can be mean to someone who's mean against me, so that's why I can't be mean?
I don't know, I just work here.
Oh, it's fine.
So you're gonna attack Goroth? He's waiting.
First of all, I'm gonna cast Blur on me.
Okay.
Don't attack Alaroth!
Then I'm going to chuck more back poppers at him.
Okay. I'll say that now that he's aware that you're gonna be dickish to him, he is going to attempt to dodge them, so an unproficient ranged attack from your side.
Well, okay. That's all dex, right? Cause...
Yeah.
Right?
It's just dex rolls.
22. Pretty sure that hits.
Alright, that does hit him. So you hit him with 1, which does no damage.
Yep.
Go to sleep. As he walks up to you, and he's going to try to cast Shocking Grasp.
As he gets up to me, I reach into a bag of holding and smear his face with, where is it? I smear his face with sleep aid. Well, you first.
All right, and he's casting this with advantage, but I
Disadvantage, so it's a regular roll. Oh yes, he misses. Because Blurk is disadvantage.
But he's using his advantage.
Oh fuck!
So he's going to have to roll on that.
But first, he has to dodge my sleeping aid face to the face.
He can attempt to do that, but it's technically turn order, so he attempted to attack you, and then you're going to hit him with the sleep aid. So, Shocking Grasp, which is 25. Does 7 lightning damage.
And that's not just his hair at all end.
And I have to roll on the D100 because he gave himself advantage.
Oh boy.
63.
Oh boy.
63. Find in this document for me. Alright. Oh, good. Good!
Oh boy.
This is exciting. I need everybody that's in the room to roll initiative.
Oh boy.
Because this is one of the ones that's over 50, so this is one of his custom ones that he made for this campaign. So, I need everyone to roll initiative.
So, Erso DT just rolled. This is not gonna be fun, damn it.
I'm actually just going to remove the other ones that are there. I'm not going to remember what they are, but...
Oh, you should have removed Alatar because he had a 20.
Alatar rolled a 20? Okay. Yeah. Remove him? No, I didn't. He didn't select his token.
I thought I did.
Yeah, I removed one that looked like that troll-looking thing on your Roll20.
Oh yeah,
I'll just add you at 20.
Yeah, you can do that as well you can do it yourself as well, but I will do it here to demonstrate. I can make DT from a 14 towards a 12.
Yeah, you can change it on there, but I did notice that you guys could do that, so I'm actually going to be watching for that now. But either way, so yes, there are
The
10
army
avatars on that
assembles.
screen. So, thing I need to roll for Goroth. Does he have a thing on his on the screen? Goroth?
Yes, right besides besides the foot of the thingamabob. Well, just follow the slutty sword's point and you will see him.
Yes, I see it. So I select token, then I click Goroth, then I click initiative. This might be the first time I get this to work if it works.
It worked.
It worked! So, there he is. And enemy... Oh, I actually have to figure this out. I don't know what's gonna show up. Enemy... Enemy... I'm looking in the wrong book. That's why I'm not finding any bad guys.
That's okay. We can pass on the bad guys.
But that's what he rolled. Which is the best part. Let's see. So, here's what's gonna happen. Actually, no. Nope. So, here's what happens.
We're all gonna die.
No, we're not.
Randomly, as he attempts to shocking grasp you, in the middle of the room appears what looks like a head floating in the middle of the air, and there's purple flames going around it, and its eyes are glowing purple. And it looks down at all of you and goes, as it looks down at all of you. So, now we're in initiative order. So,
Avatar, you're first.
I'm going to... Did he get a natural 20? No.
No.
So then technically, it is Lily's turn.
Oh, Lily, that's my bad.
A weird purple flaming skull appeared in the room.
Okay. How far away from me am I?
I can barely hear you.
How far away from me is it?
It is, it's floating about, I'm going to say 10 feet in the air, because this room is quite high. It's about 10 feet in the air. It's near the top of the ceiling. And you're about on the ground. Like, if it were on the ground, you would be about 10 feet away. So it's 10 feet in the air, and it's 10 feet away from you. So there's a diagonal there, if you can picture that.
Okay. Oh man, this halfling is a lot of fun. Okay, so she's gonna wave at it obnoxiously. Hi! You're trying to hurt me! I'm gonna kill you!
The head turns towards you and goes. You can roll an intimidation check if you wish.
Okay. Let's go crazy. Intimidation.
Let's see how quick we can extinguish those flames. Oh.
10.
Unfortunately, it just sort of goes and then just continues looking at everybody equally. It doesn't seem like
You have something in your throat? Why are you coughing?
it doesn't pay attention anymore.
I'm cuter than you!
Alright.
So, Altair's turn.
Oh wait, I forgot to add the enemy turn. Give me a second.
They don't get a turn.
Initiative. Which is +3, I guess.
He
Just put it
guesses.
laughing.
He guesses.
+3. Roll. He gets an 18. So I
Is
don't
it
know if Goroth
contested
is.
with Goroth?
So
No, he had a +2, so the skull goes first.
Alright, good. And it might have a chance to do something.
But first, Altair goes before the skull.
Yeah, but it's still technically Lily's turn. You want to do anything else?
No, that's about it.
Okay. So then, it is Alatar's turn. Weird floating flaming skull in the room.
Okay.
What do you want to do?
I'm gonna have some fun.
Alright.
I'm gonna shoot at it.
Unless you have advantage, the 21 hits and the 10 misses. Alright,
Cool.
9. Keep track of that. Okay. So it gets knocked back a little bit in the air, and then it looks towards you and goes. Sounds almost like a Halloween decoration. Halloween decoration that just laughs whenever somebody passes by it. So,
Okay.
But now those chuckles won't be so funny anymore.
so that's your turn, I guess.
Yeah, that's me. That's it.
Alrighty. So it is bad guy's turn, and it actually went in the right order, in the turn order. So, it is going to
Laugh at us. And that's it.
definitely not. 'Cause this is not a good creature.
That's
This
a
is not
floating
nice.
head.
It's not a nice thing. Okay.
Well, I guess you can banish it soon.
He can do that.
I could do that.
It's a possibility for him to do that.
Which he
But
will, because he knows it will be able to be banished.
Not gonna do that yet.
Darn it.
He's gonna try to incapacitate it first, is what I'm gonna say, before he just tries to banish it.
Sounds fun.
So, level 1. Okay. So, since I wasn't expecting this, I have to look up a spell. Because it's definitely not gonna waste time. It sees that it's suddenly in a different location, and there are things in front of it that need killing. So,
Oh, one of them at least, because they attacked it.
it doesn't care. It doesn't care whether you attacked it or not. I'll just say that much. So, good thing you're not in a big room. That makes this decision a whole lot easier. Let's see. Here it is. It's creature. Okay. Good thing you're all clustered together, relatively. I'm gonna say that Lily, Edo-san, and Goroth are standing relatively close because they're in an argument and
Mm-hmm.
Alatar is on the other side of the room. So he's lucky he doesn't have to do this. I need you all to make dexterity saving throws.
Oop.
As long as you're within 10 feet of me, you are going to get a bonus 4 to that roll.
So you didn't hear what she just said, maybe, but I did.
I heard a
She says-
bonus to something.
Yeah, you're gonna get a bonus because she's a paladin. So basically the aura bonus.
Yeah, but
As
I
long
don't.
as long as you're within 10 feet of me, you're going to get a plus 4 to your roll. Oh, you got it.
31. I'm okay, I guess.
All right. So Lonnie, I see that you rolled a 10, which is 14.
Yep. No, that's included. I rolled a 10.
Oh, that's included in your roll?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So you got 10.
Yes,
which
I
is
did.
even worse.
Worse or better?
For you, it is worse. So I need to roll. It is at 3rd level. So I need to roll. It is a 3rd level spell, so that's good. So I don't need to change the numbers at all. What dice do I roll? It should say somewhere.
A D4.
Definitely not.
Get bugged.
There we go. 8. There we go.
Cheese and
Okay.
rice.
And I need to actually roll for Goroth.
Yeah, I also dodges that like it's nothing.
And he fails as well.
Oh boy.
So you don't get to dodge. You take half damage. If I remember
Oh wait,
correctly.
I'm forgetting someone.
DT?
Yep.
Yeah. If he's near you at all, then since
Yeah,
you're
but
gonna
there's
get-
one tiny problem for that thing.
What?
Attack.
Does he
Let me
automatically
just
protect you? Because if
let me
not, then
see.
does he protect you from AoE attacks?
No. I was always curious about it. No, it's melee attacks.
Okay. It's not a melee attack. It's using the
So-
spell Fireball.
Let's see how dexterous DT is. He's also very dexterous.
7.
Only not today.
So
He fails as well.
I know that 27 succeeds, and I know that 10 does not. I don't know what he's using the spell Fireball. So so I don't know what the DC is for Fireball.
Oh, that is spellcasting ability. So
Okay.
proficiency plus whatever modifier you use.
Okay.
Plus the base, so that's an 8. So 8 plus intelligence modifier
Okay.
plus
Here it is.
proficiency.
Plus 5 to hit with spell attacks. Okay, it says it here. Because it's an enemy, so that would be important information. So, yeah, everyone who got not 27 failed.
So I take
Yo.
16.
32 damage to everyone who failed. And to those who didn't, half of 32, which is 16. So Goroth is at full hit points. So he takes 32. So 78 minus 32. And yes, he has 78 hit points.
A buff druid.
40. And he is now at 46. From 78 to 46 in one round. So, Yeah, it did that, and that's all it can do for this turn.
So Grora's turn. I think he will bench it now, because as he sees the damage, because he knows he can bench it.
First, we'll start off with the description of what just happened. Suddenly, a small bead of purple flame just appears in front of the skull. The skull looks at this small clustered group, and the small bead of purple flame just goes towards you, blows up half this room and everything in it. There's actually things on fire. The bench is on fire, and the bed is on fire.
Oh boy, we are in trouble.
So, anybody who now chooses to stand on the bed for any reason, or the bench, has to make a dexterity save just to stand on it, and if they fail, they are on fire, which means they take I think it's a D4 worth of damage every turn.
Yeah.
So, but I'll say that nobody is currently standing on the bed.
Yeah, or the bench.
So, but somebody is on the other side of the bench, but if he doesn't move quickly, he's going to be on fire. So on his next turn, I'll give him a chance to move.
Okay.
So, alright, Goroth's turn. He sees this situation unfolding. He's like, that's weird. And he's just going to cast on it. Actually, he could have done something about that, but he didn't. Because that's the punishment he gets for not being here. So, here's what he's going to do. Not going to do that yet. Chromatic orb. Let's see. That can do multiple elements, correct?
Let me check it for you.
I'm looking at it, and it says you choose acid, cold, fire, lightning, poison, or thunder.
Chromatic orb, you choose it if the attack hits, so you need to make a range spell attack. Okay. Then at higher levels you get to add 1d8 more, but the base is 3d8, and you choose the type.
Okay, great. Let's see. He's going to make a knowledge roll, because this can make all the difference here. Because apparently has no weaknesses. So see if he knows that or not. Arcana. 16. Yeah, he would know that his basic instinct was to use cold damage. It is immune to cold damage. So he's not going to do that.
So why not give it quite a shocker?
Yes, he can do something else, which will be, based on his knowledge roll, he's not going to choose thunder. And he's not going to, actually he could choose thunder, but he's definitely not going to choose lightning, because it's resistant. And he's not going to choose cold, fire, or poison, because it's immune. So he is going to choose either thunder or acid. Those are the only ones.
And necrotic wasn't it one, or am I wrong?
No, his orb cannot choose necrotic.
Okay, my bad.
And even if it could, it would be resistant.
Oh,
so
boy.
He rolls 3d8 acid damage is what I'm going to say. So he conjures a green orb in front of him, and it just fires off a beam, I think. I'm not sure how chromatic orb works. You hurl a 4-inch diameter sphere, so he's going to hurl the sphere at it then. So he's hurling a green sphere, and it leaves little drippings of green as it goes along, and it is going to... He has to roll to hit, I think.
Yes. It's a ranged spell attack.
I'm going to click Chromatic Orb, which he nat ones. Actually, he cast a spell, so he would have used advantage, which that hits, because he used a spell. So he can gain advantage whenever he likes. So, he hit with that. What level? He's casting it at first level, because he doesn't want to waste his bigger spells yet. So it deals 9 damage, plus 9, and yeah, it even says in his description there, you can see it, the types that it can be. So he chose acid because he rolled high on his check to see if he knew what it was. And he knows what it is, but he's not going to bother telling you guys. So...
Matters for me.
Let's see. So, he gets to roll his D100. That's right.
Oh no.
68. Oh. Did he get 68 before or 63?
Yes, 60. Let me see. Yes, 63. So 5 higher.
Okay, so it's a different one. The number doesn't really affect what it's going to be. So he got 65, was it?
68.
68. Okay. Okay. Okay.
Oh, fuck.
You don't know what it is.
Yeah, but if you start laughing, it's mostly a good thing for you.
Okay, so what level is he? This is
We're all level
complicated.
8 currently.
Okay, 8. I need to look up a class in the book for this one. Because he would have done this if he were here. He would know what he could change into. But I don't. So, let's see. Let's see. Am I on the right one? No, I'm on the wrong one. Still the wrong one. Okay, here we go. To make this easier, no, here it is. And he's level 8, correct?
Yep, we're all level 8 if it's good.
Okay. So here's what he decides to change. Well, what happens? Suddenly, he goes, I'm changing, and then suddenly his arms change into wings, his legs change into talons, and suddenly you have a giant eagle in the room where he once stood. So,
well, okay.
He's now a giant eagle. He basically, just to describe what happened here, he beast-shaped like a druid would of his level.
Okay.
So he changed into a giant eagle. And he can't control it, so he is now that, and he can't cast spells while he is in beast shape. So we now have a sorcerer who cannot cast spells, who is now a giant eagle. So
It's my turn.
Yes. Finally.
Let's go. It's like, always somewhere over the Big Bang.
22 hits.
So that is actually the acid necrotic is actually a 3 because he's resistant to a narcotic, right?
Yes.
So that's actually a 3.
Alright.
But I killed it with 7. So I just chipped off 70 hit. No, not 70. 68 hit points.
Alright. As soon as it gets shot, it tumbles backwards and falls onto the bed, no longer on fire.
Good job.
Well, dealt with that.
And Goroth is now a giant eagle and can't communicate. And can't cast spells.
So I also just the watch it says, it'll pass. I hope.
Oh my god, you're so cute and fluffy! I'm just gonna
Oh yeah, one more thing, I got the switch machines.
Okay.
So, Lily is gonna pet the living daylights out of him and just like, have you ever read Of Mice and Men? Something like that.
Okay. The eagle, which is Goroth, just sort of glances down at you. And you can tell by the look on his face he's perturbed, but he's not moving or anything.
Lily don't care. Lily's got a pet.
And just so you know, he cannot change back unless if he drops to 0 hit points.
Lily has a pet.
So, basically, the giant eagle form has to drop to 0 hit points, and then he has his other set of hit points. So he is stuck as this until the giant eagle drops to 0 hit points. So he's just sort of looking back and forth. And actually, this might be useful for you later when you're on the plane of air. But we'll see. So he's a giant eagle, but now he can't use his wild magic until he drops to 0 hit points. So that might be a boon. So he sort of just turns his head around, looks around the room. But he doesn't do much else at the moment.
Lily's just gonna pet him.
He seems a little perturbed, but he doesn't prevent you. At least at the moment. So he glances over towards the skull that is currently... Actually, it's a head at the moment. And you look at it as he's looking at it, and you notice that black stuff is coming off of it and evaporating into the air. Seems like this was a shadow creature of some sort.
Okay. Makes sense.
So, he just looks over at it, and he looks at you guys and then goes, "Meow!" And then looks at it again.
Okay, Lily's gonna say, I'm the only annoying one here!
He gets whacked. Because he's not used to his body, so he can't even attempt to dodge yet. So he just sort of stumbles to the side a little bit.
Non-lethal damage, of course.
Yes. You're not doing any damage, technically. So he just stumbles to the side a little bit, looks at the thing on the bed. The bed is still technically on fire. And so is the bench.
Can somebody
So-
help me put this out?
Alatar, you are currently sitting on a flaming bench.
Then I should stand up.
Alright, you are no longer sitting on a flaming bench. But the bench is still on fire. And so is the bed. This room is filling up with smoke. I forgot about the urgency. So there's an enemy in the room that's possibly going to recover. There's flames everywhere. Might want to do something.
Oh man.
Yeah, it's quite the situation.
Right?
I need assistance, you.
I'll try and go help the fire out on the bed.
God.
Alright,
Wait a minute.
so you start smothering the flames, and as long as you're careful, I'll say that you succeed in doing so. But it takes a little while. Goroth cannot help you. He is an eagle. If he were to, use his wings to try to put it out, he might just light himself on fire. So he's
Damn.
going to refrain from doing so.
I read my mind.
But it takes you about 30 seconds to finally put out the flames. You now notice that the bed is cracked in half from the force of the fireball that happened. The bench is also slightly damaged. It was less so damaged because it wasn't fully in the blast, but it was still on fire because it was partially so, and then it was just lighting up quickly. So the bench is still on fire, but you took half a minute to do that, and the creature seems like it's recovering slightly.
Okay. Is it still oozing?
The black stuff seems to have evaporated off of it, but it seems dormant. The skull. It's a skull now, whereas before it was a head. With skin and everything. And now it's just a skull.
I'm gonna yell at James's character. I can't remember the names.
Alatar.
Alatar! Alasan! Go to Sun! I'm gonna go upstairs and tell the guy that stuff's happening. You put fires out! Run.
Goroth says, might be a bad idea to go up.
Might be!
But actually, Goroth can't say anything, so he doesn't say anything.
So I start heading upstairs, I knock on the door, and I start yelling, Mister! Something happened! I need your help!
Alright, there are a little set of stairs that you can go down. Or up, I mean, because you're down, so you're going up them. It's not that extravagant, they're just this metal stairs, and you knock on the door. As soon as you touch the door, actually, boop, 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 you take 2 fire damage as you realize the door is extremely hot.
Door's up! We're gonna die! Okay.
Yep, that happens. Anything else you're gonna try? As soon as you try to knock on the door, your knuckles just burn.
I yell at Elemental. Hey, mister! We kinda need your help down here!
Do you understand Elemental?
Nope.
So you're yelling in common, then?
Absolutely.
Alright. So, he comes toward, you hear the footsteps above. As he comes towards the, hatch, and he says, no! Not time! still hot.
I know!
He goes, then why make noise?
Something came down here and it's gonna kill us! I need your help!
So, what did I miss?
The bed was on fire, but you didn't participate in that. Did you hear the part where Goroth was a giant eagle?
Yes.
Okay, he is a giant eagle and cannot communicate with you. Therefore, and he is stuck that way until the giant eagle form reaches 0 hit points. So, he cannot finish the creature, even if he wanted to. He cannot do anything to communicate with you, except for, like, rudimentary screeches and his wing to point at things. He can't really do much other than that. And Lily and Alex
Has it happened before to him?
You don't know, and he cannot tell you.
But if he does know, he can, like, image it, try to make clear that what has happened, right?
You can ask him.
Okay.
But first, before we get to that, stuff has already happened. So, the bed was on fire. So they put the bed out, and it looks like the bed is broken. Perhaps it could be repaired.
Oh, how fortunate that I have the tools and the skill to do so.
But the bedding and stuff is also burned. Do you have a loom?
No, but
So
I
you
do.
cannot repair the sheets.
Well,
unless
mending says the following.
Yes, you can use mending if you want, but that takes 10 minutes to do. But either way,
1
yes,
minute.
it does. Oh, 1 minute, sorry. It's 10 turns, which is how I got confused. So, that can happen. You can attempt to do that. But, also, the bench is still on fire, and it seems that the head was a shadow creature, and the shadow seems to have evaporated from it, and it is now a skull laying on the bed.
Yes, so Erson first puts out the...
It seems dormant at the moment, I'll say that much.
Yeah, so Erson first puts out the fire on the table.
On the bench, but yes,
on the
you can do that.
bench.
Alright.
Then starts fixing up the bed and then the bench.
You can do that. So it takes you about 15 seconds to do that. And while that was happening, Lily went up the stairs to the hatch and attempted to knock on the door and is now currently in a shouting match with whoever's on the other side. Which you assume is the guy that I already forgot his name. Hosmish. And you can hear Hosmish replying, saying, not ready yet. And then Lily is like, I know. And then he's like, well then why you make so much noise? And that's where the conversation left off for now.
So try make up something, Lily. It doesn't get us in trouble. Pretty please.
Alright, so we'll continue the conversation with Lily since that's the next thing chronologically that's happening. So, Lily.
What do you want? I'm trying to not die!
You hear the voice on the other side say, it's still dangerous. Me not speak common.
Come downstairs!
Me not speak common.
So if I can interject,
Okay.
Elson walks up to Lily and just puts his hand on his hands on the shoulder and tells her, "He doesn't understand you. Just leave him be, okay?"
I just don't kill that thing.
Can
Alright.
I shoot Gorath to make him back into a human again? Or whatever he is?
You don't know what's going to cause him to turn back.
Lily has a pet.
Your character doesn't know the information that I've given you.
Do you have speak
Okay.
with animals, perhaps?
Yes, if you had a spell such as Speak with Animals, then you could converse with him. He is basically an animal at this point, with the mind of Goroth. So, Goroth can still communicate with you using the body of the eagle, but he can't speak human or common language. He can't speak any language. Because he's in an animal form.
Oh, dang.
But he can communicate with you if you ask him questions. But
Lily
they have to
has
be
a pet.
yes or no, or he has to have some other way of communicating. So, he is currently standing in the middle of the room. He sees that the fire is out, but he sort of just motions his head towards the skull laying on the bed, and he goes, "Eeeh!" He's basically indicating that there's a threat there. In the only way he can.
So, as Elsa returns, he just grabs the skull and then puts it beside the bed.
Alright, you grab the skull, and as you carry it towards the side of the bed, I need you to make... it doesn't actually have a stat for this, because they don't assume that you're going to do what you just did. So, as you are holding it, its eyes begin to glow slightly, and flames begin to emit from it suddenly, and your hands are being burnt. So he doesn't have a stat for this, so I'm just going to roll the flame stat that I just rolled, which is 1d6.
Oh.
So you take 6 damage, and you can continue to hold the skull if you wish, but you will continue to take damage each turn.
As soon as it starts burning, Elsa just throws it in the air.
Alright, you throw it in the air, and it just suspends itself in the air. And it looks towards you and goes... just like it did before. Now,
Yeah, har, very funny.
we're back into initiative order, and for simplicity's sake, we're going to return to the former initiative.
Which is DT.
No, technically, it is back to the top. Because you didn't expect it, so it's back to the top of the initiative. So, Lily, you witness as Alatar goes, ah! Because he just burnt his hands.
Alison.
Oh yeah, Alathon. Sorry. And you look down the stairs and you see the skull floating in the air. And it's on fire. And it has green flames licking around it as its eyes are glowing red with cinders.
She'll be right back.
All right.
Commercial identification. Okay, it's your turn. The head's floating again, laughing at us. With what?
No, how far away from me is it?
How far away is it from her?
She is 10 feet up because she is stubbornly trying to communicate with the efreeti. And it is about 30 feet on the other side of the room. Because the end of the bed, the bottom part of the bed is on the stairs where she is. So she's up here, the bed is here, and it goes all the way to the wall, and Aro-san was putting the skull on the end table, which is next to the bed, which is at the head of the bed, which is on the other side.
No. I was putting it on the ground.
You said you were putting it off the bed.
Yeah, beside the bed.
Either way, you dropped it.
Either way, it's still on the other side of the room. You can put it on the ground or on the... You were planning to put it on the ground or on the end table. Ultimately, you're on the other side of the room.
Okay, short bow.
Short bow,
Short bow.
8 misses. And unless you have a second attack...
I do.
She does.
Okay.
Alright.
8 misses. It's the same result. So,
Wide left,
2
wide
arrows.
right.
Ting, ting. As it just sort of floats in the air just above each of your arrows. And then it looks over towards the source of the arrows and goes...
He's laughing at you.
Alright.
I
So,
can't. Ruby Kid's watching.
alright, Alatar. Floating skull.
Cool. Let's go with. It can be taken down.
Yes, it can.
Yeah, why not? 1 blast, 2 blast.
Those both hit, actually.
Oh, wow.
It's not the most dexterous of creatures.
24.
And as long as you hit it, then it deals damage. So
Cool.
it's not like it has thick armor or anything. So...
It's just hard-headed.
Slightly, yes. Alright. Your damage is dealt. You hit it a couple times, it sort of reacts from it. And part of its lower jaw sort of snaps a little bit as you hit it. But the jaw still moves and it goes... But you see, like, there's a crack on its jaw now.
Okay.
So you are dealing damage to it.
Cool.
Enemy turn. Luckily for you, it's used its most powerful ability. But it still has other abilities. Such as... Do any of you have the blur spell?
I do.
I don't.
Tell me what that does.
The blur spell. I will do even 1 up on that.
Just so that way I don't have to look it up.
Fuck.
Any creature has
Disadvantage.
disadvantage on attack rolls.
Okay. Great! That's what it wants. So, suddenly, the skull becomes blurry and its shape becomes slightly wavy and unclear. And sometimes you see that there's 2 or 3 of them, and it seems like it's moving, but sometimes the image of it doesn't move, so you're not 100% sure where it is. And it's just sort of floating in the air doing this, and it goes... And that's its turn. Goroth is a giant eagle. So, he does what giant eagles do. Fly. So he can fly. Giant eagle stats. Giant eagle stats. He flies up towards it. Technically, he's big enough to stand up and then just peck it, but he's going to use his wings. either way, because he has them, so he's going to use them. And he has a +5 to hit with either of his attacks. So he's going to use his... Actually, he gets 2 attacks. So he gets to hit with both. Beautiful. So, 2 + 5s to hit. So, 5, 1, 2. Those both hit. So he attacks with his abnormally large giant eagle beak.
Hold on. The blur
What?
spell.
Yes. Which gives him disadvantage, but 15 still hits. I forgot about that, actually. And 13 just barely hits. So he still hits both times. Same result. So, okay. I'm looking for damage. They're both D6s. So one does 1d6 +3. And the other one does 2d6 +3. Fairly straightforward. So he deals 7 and 9.
16.
So 16. Alright. So I need to turn back to the page I was just on.
That's a total damage of 40 by now.
Oh, wonderful. As he pecks and talons, I guess that's what I'm going to say. Talons is it. It cracks as soon as the beak hits it, and then it looks up, and it starts to begin the laugh again, so it goes, and then the talons hit it, and scattered it into pieces across the room. It is scattered across the room. Unmoving. Little pieces of bone are everywhere in the room.
So Ersan walks up to it with his gun and starts poking the pieces like it's gonna reshape or something.
Well, Arasan is doing that. Lily's gonna run over and with her short sword. I'm sorry, short sword with her battle axe and go double tap.
There are tiny little pieces of bone everywhere. What do you wish to do?
Just wail on him. You've seen Zombieland, right?
I'm familiar with the concept, yes, of smashing them to pieces.
Yeah, and that's what she's just gonna scream. Double tap!
Just that it already is in pieces, but either way, you can do that.
Oh, she's gonna ensure.
Alright, so you start smashing little bits of bone and teeth and...
So before Lily destroys too much of the skull, Ersan scraps some of it into his bag of holding.
Alright, you grab some of it and put it in your bag of holding. Put piece of bone in your bag of holding.
Pieces of a skull.
Yes, you can label it whatever you want. But you can put that in there.
Mm-hmm.
Alright. Now what? Now what are you gonna do? Anything?
Well, after that I'm gonna fix up the bed and the bench.
Alright. Apparently you're really intent on doing that. So we can do that. It'll take you about half the rest of this day.
I'm getting my noodles. I'll be right back.
Alright.
So you're saying that fixing takes 12 hours?
Well, if you're going to be using carpentry tools...
Well, I also have mending.
And mending. The day is half over, so it's half of 6 hours, which is 3.
Okay. Yeah, I can do that. And after that, after I'm done with it, I'm going not knowing the time quite yet, but feeling that if I'm tired, I'm going to work on the lenses again.
And technically, elves are a little bit different when it comes to tiredness. They do feel fatigue, but they don't sleep exactly.
Yeah, the trance.
Yeah. So, they do get fatigued. So, but you don't exactly feel tired in the same way, is what I'm trying to say. But either way.
Yeah, but I'm trying to stay away from that, from getting a fatigue point, so to say.
Yeah. Point of exhaustion.
Yeah.
But either way. Okay. So, Alatar, you witnessed that happening. Any reaction after? As your allies just go back to doing weird random things.
No. I'm just waiting for the bench to get fixed so I can sit down.
Alright. I'll say that he works on the bench first, just so that way it's easier. And he repairs the burnt parts with magic. So he seems to be summoning magic in it. The magic coalesces around the burnt edges, which you hear snapping sounds as the wood just reforms. And the cushion reforms, and everything looks nice again. And you sit down.
I'm gonna go back upstairs, not knock on the door this time, and yell, "Hey, mister! We're not dead! Bye!" And then I proceed downstairs.
And as you get about halfway down the stairs, you hear shouting from the door saying, "Not safe! Don't come!" And and then you hear his footsteps go back. So that happens. And as Alatar sits down, the giant eagle comes over to Alatar, and looks at the little tiny pieces of bone on the floor, and then looks at Alatar and goes,
Is he hungry?
No, he's trying to communicate! I love you!
He looks down at Lily, and he seems to be trying to communicate something. He looks at the little pieces of bone on the floor, and then he looks at you, and then he screeches. He does this multiple times.
Do you want me to, eat one of the pieces? Are you hungry?
He looks extremely... He uses his limited facial structure to portray, in as much as he can, just how annoyed he is.
Lily tries to feed him one of the bone pieces.
Probably want a bone.
Moves his head away.
What? You don't like it? It's okay. I'll get you something tastier.
And he looks back down, does the same thing.
Okay. Lily's gonna look at them. Are they merging or disintegrating?
Make a religion check. You are aware that there are creatures in the world that are undead that look relatively like skulls. And with that roll, an hour after its body is destroyed, you can... There are times that it will reform, depending on what undead this is, and you have a hunch that this is what he's complaining about. It will reform and come back just as strong as it was before. And the only way to get rid of it is to use holy water, or use a dispel magic spell, or a remove curse spell. Otherwise, the creature will just keep returning.
Well, there's now one tiny problem for the skull.
Yeah, smart move.
There's just one tiny problem. Parts of it are in 2 different planes.
You're not sure how that is going to affect it.
Remove curse, huh?
Remove curse or dispel magic.
Those are the 2 spells, and the item you can use is holy water, which you probably don't have.
Don't. I always take holy water too.
Can paladins make holy water somehow? Not that
It would be part of your class if you can.
There's got to be a process though.
Of what? Because Aerosun has a lot of water.
Do you have, what was it? It's an item that you get at the beginning. It's like a religious pack or something. It comes with like a holy symbol, candles, and stuff like that.
Oh, I don't think I took that. I took an adventurer's kit. I think that's what it was.
If you would have taken the religious pack, I would have said that you would have had the materials necessary to create the ritual. But you do not.
I guess.
Oh, bummer.
I don't have holy water either.
It's called a priest's pack. And you would have had the necessary elements within that to create it. Like in a priest pack, you have things like an alms box, so you could beg for alms if you wanted. Blocks of incense, a censer, vestments. It also has the backpack and the blanket and everything. And the water skin and all that stuff. Along with 10 candles. So I would have said the candles would have been required, and the incense would have been required. And the vestments, probably, if you wanted to perform the ritual properly. So you do not have those, so you cannot create holy water.
Okay.
Do you have holy water?
No, but I've removed curse.
Oh. Remove curse, please.
Yes, Lily is aware that you can cast Remove Curse to make it go away. Alright? You have to touch just a piece of bone that it's consistent of. Because you have to touch a creature or an object. So you just have to touch part of it as you cast the spell. So you reach forward, pick up one of the bones, and you just focus from your patron's power, and suddenly you feel like your magic actually came to purchase on a curse and dispelled the curse. And you put the bone down and you're done.
Yay. I did something.
Yay.
Otherwise, in an hour, it would have just came back and gone, and attacked you.
Well, what's actually able for it to be reached?
And what I would have said for that was that that part would either be missing, and it would still reform, or it would just regenerate that portion. So, that wouldn't have affected it. And if you would have put it all in your bag of holding, that would have been not a good time for your bag of holding.
Not a good time, no.
Your bag of holding might have gotten destroyed as a result.
Yeah.
Would have been funny, though.
It would have.
So, as Arizal is over listening, he just quickly chucks the piece of bone by the rest of him as Alatar is casting the remove curse, just to be safe.
Alright. That happens. And the curse seems to have dissipated.
And he then just starts
Just a little bit
working.
more information on what just appeared. They're
What seems
basically,
to be a flaming skull.
yes, which are creatures that are,
Wait, did I actually say the name?
yes.
I was just guessing. I just said, well, it seems to be a flaming skull.
Well, the name of the creature is Flame Skull.
Okay.
Basically, necromancers create them out of the heads of the skulls of previous mages. So the person had to have been attuned to magic in some way, and when they die, they basically remove the skull, cast necromantic energy into it, and you can create one yourself if you really wanted to. To guard a location, usually, but this one just appeared in the room. You're not sure why.
Mm-hmm.
Like necromancers might have them at the entrance of a crypt or something to protect the crypt.
Yeah, or their thing that gives, or liches, perhaps, at their thing and what keeps them alive forever.
Yes. They're
Lily
phylactery.
is gonna say some prayer over the skull.
Alrighty. And I'll say that you're familiar with a prayer for sending the dead off to wherever it is that they go. Wherever it is that they're supposed to go. And you just say the prayer over the skull. You assume that probably the soul of whoever owned the skull originally is probably long gone, but you say it anyway. Seems right.
Cool.
And
See.
let's see. So, Goroth the giant eagle now done his duty because he knew what this was. That's why he knew what its resistances were. So he knew what it was. That's why he was trying to indicate that you should do something about it. And then he just goes over to the bed in his eagle form and just sort of lays his body down like a bird would on the bed and just sort of tries to go to sleep.
Lily spoons with him.
He glances over, and you can tell that he has like almost a furrowed brow on an eagle face. And he just sort of looks at you, and then he goes. He just shakes his head, and his face returns to normal, and he just goes to sleep.
You will love me someday.
He just remains asleep. Or at least is pretending to.
Can't blame him.
I mean, he's an eagle. He can't express his distaste any more than he already has. So, he's not gonna
Fly
try.
like an eagle.
So, there's actually a few things that I should get to while you guys are in this mode of transportation. So I'll say that you guys do your stuff, and then during one of the nights, this is when this is going to happen. So, first, I'll say, I'm going to ask both of you for a second. Both Alatar and Lily. You both partook in the drug that Howler gave you a long time ago. So the question
hookah, right?
I have is the what? Sorry.
Was it the hookah?
Yeah.
Was it Lily or was it my other character, Austin?
Lily did take it
Okay.
on the ship.
Okay, cool.
Did you both take it at least 2 times?
Don't remember once for sure, but
I remember that you did once. Actually,
Right.
you did once on the ship, and you did once on the outside of the forest, on the outskirts.
Okay, so I did it twice.
Did Alatar do it twice? I don't remember.
Ellie, did you do it twice?
I know once for sure. When was
It
outside
would
the
be
forest?
easier if you did do it twice, just so
Then
you're
let's
aware, for me.
then let's
But,
then let's go. Let's say I did it twice.
okay. So, as you guys are sleeping on this night, you guys have flashbacks to your dreams that you had, which I forgot to do. So your original dreams were basically an LSD trip for the entire night. So we'll start with, let's see. We'll start with Lily. Lily, your original dream, your first dream, is the LSD trip. I usually go into high detail on this one. So, you were suddenly, everything is rainbow colored, just to get that out of the way. So, everything I describe is colored like rainbow. Just to make the description a little easier, that way I don't have to describe everything. You see a fox in the middle of a forest, and you rush towards it, you hug it, and it seems happy with the fact that you're hugging it. It doesn't try to run away or anything. It actually looks like it's grinning as you're approaching it. And you hug its neck so tight that its head just pops off, but it seems it's all happy. It's like rainbows. It's not like you're killing it or anything. It's still alive. Its head pops off, and it lays on the ground, and it looks up at you, and it's got a big grin on its face, and you're just so happy. You pick up the head, and you start spinning around and around and around in a circle, and eventually you spin so fast that suddenly you're underground. You don't know how you got there, and you're looking at the fox's head, and then you just see the rest of its body there, and you reattach the head to the body, and it seems fine. And you look over and you see a bunch of the babies of the fox sitting in its den, which somehow you're big enough to stand up in, but it's also, like, the perspective is kind of weird. It's also standing on four legs, and it's the right size for it, but it's also the same size as you, so it might be a giant fox, you're not sure. But before, it was the same size as a regular fox, so the perspective's off. You see the pups sitting in its den underground, and you go over and you just have a good time petting them all, and you just couldn't stop petting them, and then you awoke from that first dream. So then, during your second dream, it wasn't quite as good. Your high was the same originally, but when you went to sleep, the dream was different. Your second dream involves the same fox, except it's regular colored. It's white belly, red back, same fluffy tail. And you go to approach it. Perhaps you are in the same mindset as the other dream, and it darts off to the side. You get confused for a second. You're not sure why that happened, or you get these weird feelings of dread as well. Not sure what's happening. And you think that something is off as you run towards where it went, and then suddenly you're just in a black expanse with trees ringing around you, and you can't escape the ring of trees. And you see one fox, two fox, three, four. They're all surrounding you, and they're snarling at you, threateningly. And then they all leap towards you and bear down on different parts of your body, ripping you apart. And from your perspective, your head is still intact, but the rest of your body is just torn asunder. And then suddenly you're in a different location. You're floating above in an endless expanse of grass. You just see grass on all sides. And you look down, and you see a fox standing in the middle of this grassy plain. And it's looking at you intently. And at this point, I'll allow you to have some modicum of input into the dream.
Why, Foxy? Why would you do that?
It looks up at you. Doesn't seem like it's answering you. At least yet.
I thought you loved me, Foxy.
It looks at the area around it. It seems to be indicating that it wants you to look at it as well.
I'm looking at it. I mean, I'm looking at it.
Alright, so you look around. You see just an endless expanse of grass. And in the distance you see a mountain. Just in the middle of this grassy field. Your character doesn't remember what this place is. If she ever saw it at all. And it looks at you and it says, the fox actually speaks. It says, "Come to me."
Why are you so creepy, Foxy? Where do I have to go?
It looks around the area. When you ask, where do I have to go?
Yes.
It looks around the area. So you look around the area. It seems like this is the area you're supposed to go.
Foxy, I'm well aware I have to come here. Where is here?
Come to me.
Give me a map, Foxy.
It just stares at you blankly.
Give me an aerial view, Foxy.
It looks up. Do you look up?
Sure, I look up.
You start to float up uncontrollably.
Oh,
And then
snap.
suddenly you're 1,000 feet above the ground. And you see an endless expanse of grass with a mountain in the middle.
Okay, she'll take note of that. Location,
You also see in the distance what looks like a line and a cutoff line, and beyond it, yellowish sand to the north, and to the south you see what looks like a swampy type area.
Okay.
To the east and west you just see ocean.
Ocean. Okay.
Yep. Those hints are way more than enough to figure out where this location is, based on the map that I've given you.
Mm-hmm. So to the north was sand.
Yeah.
South
is swamp.
Okay, and east and west is ocean.
Yeah.
Okie doke.
And suddenly your perspective is just quickly drawn back down towards the fox, and it says, "Come to me."
As long as we're friends, I'll come to you.
It just stares at you blankly.
Okay. I'll stare at the fox blankly.
And as it licks its lips a little bit, and you see on its tongue what looks like the symbol of Senna, which is a bird.
Oh, okay.
And it looks like it was on a piece of clothing. And you look down at yourself, that was on part of your clothing.
Mm-hmm.
And it just sort of swallows it.
Okay.
And then
So
the
vision, not ominous or anything.
The vision fades. The vision fades. So you had a dream that reminded you of having those dreams before.
Okay.
Alright, so Alatar, you also have a dream that involves, let's see. Alright. Let's go. an interesting route with this one. Suddenly, in the first dream, everything is rainbow. So, LSD trip dream. You're in a field. So it doesn't have grass. It seems oddly barren, but you seem happy about it either way. You see what looks like a scorpion sort of crawling along the ground, rainbow colored. You walk towards it happily, and you grasp it in your hands, and it seems friendly. It just looks up at you, and you just put it in your mouth, and it tastes like cotton candy. And it doesn't sting you or anything. And suddenly, you're in the middle of the desert at night, and you see a bunch of little bugs crawling around. And you seem happy about it, because everything's rainbow, and you just seem happy. And the bugs crawl up you, and you're just jubilant, overjoyed with these bugs that are crawling up you. They all seem friendly. You don't get a negative vibe from them. And they're just sort of crawling all over you. And then suddenly you feel like your arms are longer and your legs are longer, and you just start running long distances using the bugs as parts of your appendages. And you can just reach really far, and you just start grabbing little houses and towns and cities after a while, and you just pick them up and you start throwing them around. You're just overjoyed by this. That's the first dream. As the dream fades, you were picking up what looked like a really tall tower, and you were just about to throw it, and then the dream went away. Then the second dream. Suddenly, you're in the same desert, except everything's in color now. It's nighttime, and you see the scorpion, and your vision can't deviate from it for some reason. And start to walk towards it, and you just feel this ominous feeling in the bottom of your stomach as you approach it. And you reach your hand out towards it, reluctantly, but you do. And it just reaches up with its stinger, and reaches towards your hand, but then you're just about to move away because it's quite small. Suddenly, its stinger just grows in size, and it just stabs into your hand. You can see this huge stinger, like this big, coming out the back of your hand. And you're like, ah! And you look at the creature, it's now giant in size. And it is looking at you ominously, and you look behind you to try to get away. You pull your hand off the stinger, and you look back, and you see 5 more behind you. Then you decide to turn around and face the one, but now there's 6 of them on the other side. And they encircle you, and you just feel hopeless as the rest of them just clamor in on you and start pincering you with their pincers and stabbing you with their stingers. Same perspective thing, like your body just gets massacred, but your head seems fine. Then suddenly you're in the desert again. Everything faded to black, and then you went back to the desert, and then you see a giant scorpion standing in the desert, looking at you. Now you have the same control. What do you want to do? What do you want to do? You can do pretty much anything that you can think of, but you're in an endless expanse of desert, and you see a scorpion standing in front of you. You can interact with the scorpion, you can move around this desert area, you can do whatever you want.
I'm gonna try maybe get on top of the scorpion.
Alright, what are you going to say to him?
If he knows a way to get out of the desert.
You hear a voice emanating from the front of it. It doesn't have a normal mouth to speak with, but its mouth is moving when the words emanate from it. It says, "Come to me."
Well, we'll go towards the scorpion.
Alright, you move towards the scorpion, and as you do, it's kind of like your perspective is getting warped around you. It feels like you're just as far away as you were before.
Huh. Let's still keep trying to go towards it.
Alright, you keep trying, you keep trying. You notice that things are moving behind you a little bit. You don't seem to be getting any closer to it. It says, "Come to me."
I tell him I'm trying to.
You can't see many facial expressions on a scorpion, but it seems like you're getting the feeling that it's frustrated. It seems to understand that you're trying to move towards it in the vision, but it wants something else.
That won't work. How else am I gonna get to him? Cafe. Walking doesn't work.
Hmm. Okay.
Can I?
Okay, go ahead.
Does he have a? Can I ask him to start coming towards me?
It looks at you. Stinger pointed towards you. You see a drip poison come off of it, and then it drips down onto the rest of its body and starts to glisten green with the poison. And you realize that the tip of the tail is moving around methodically, almost with purpose. And you look at the back of the scorpion, and it says, it writes words in common on the back of it. It says, "Dislocation. Remember."
Okay.
And it looks up at you and says, "Come to me." So you can look around yourself, as I'll say that you do, because it's saying to remember the location. You see desert on all ends. You see what looks like an ocean in the distance to the east. Also one to the west. To the north, you see what looks like various entities clashing and colliding, explosions, heat and cold mixing together. And to the south, you see what looks like an endless expanse of grass.
Okay.
The scorpion looks at you, and suddenly the green stuff on its back is gone, and it drips more onto its back, and it says, "Slow one, return to your life." As the stinger, as you finish reading those words, it stings you, and suddenly you awoke. And that was the second truth for you.
Okay.
So, let's see. Alatar actually has something else that happens. Because I had this plan for a little while, but you weren't here, so I didn't have a chance to get to it. Which is the only reason it's happening now. So Alatar, after that vision fades and that dream subsides, you sort of wake up a little bit, and you're like, "Oh, I'm still here in this stupid place," sort of thing. But I'm still tired, so then you sort of just go back to sleep.
Okay.
And suddenly, a vision activates while you're sleeping, which has happened before. The first time you contacted this patron, it wasn't sure whether or not to give you powers. He was very reluctant to give you them because you weren't willing to share much information with him at the beginning, that sort of thing, because you weren't sure if it could be trusted. And he reluctantly decided to give it to you in a vision like this. So you're in a vision, and you can see him pulling your perspective down into this weird forest that you saw him in earlier. Red leaf trees, and the bark of the trees is yellow. And the ground is just brown, regular brown color. It looks almost like an orchard, the way the trees are set up. They're sort of methodically spaced out, and they each have like a little square around them that has trees on intersecting points of the square, like one on each end and then one on each corner of the square. So it looks like an orchard that they place them there in this way for a reason or something. You're not sure. Pulls your perspective down, and you see your patron standing there, red hair, green clothes, that sort of thing, elegant looking fey-like creature. Elongated mouth a little bit, sort of simian in nature, sort of elongated in that way. Longer nose, all the 9 yards. And you actually see other creatures in your vision this time, which you've never seen before. You see what looks like a very tiny man dressed in green clothing, red hair, red beard, big red beard, very tiny man. He looks like he's wearing green pilgrim's clothing, if you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
The buckle hat, and all that, 9 yards. If you know what I mean.
I so want to call it out, but I'm not going to.
Either way, he's sort of just leaning against what looks like a wooden staff, maybe, that's smaller than he is, and he's quite small. And it's got like a ball at the top of it, weirdly shaped. And he's sort of leaning against it as he's standing in front of, or next to, this fey creature. And you also see what looks like another fey creature with its red hair up like it looks almost like a bulb, like a plant bulb. Its hair, sort of fashioned up in that way. And green clothing, just like your patron. Except this one has a small creature next to it, black in color. Has this weird head that looks almost like a fish. Its eyes are protruding from its head. Long teeth, kind of like a piranha's teeth, or an anglerfish teeth. Really long, protruding teeth. And the rest of it looks kind of like a dog, black in color. And your patron says, "Ah, finally, I can get in contact with you in a more calm state. So, these are my friends. I finally found them."
Yes.
Is our connection working? And he's sort of waving his hands in the air, strangely. Magic emanating from them. Because you haven't responded quickly enough.
Did you find all of your friends?
Sorry, you were muffled there.
Sorry. Sorry. So did you find all of your friends?
Well, not all, but the remaining ones.
Huh?
The others are taken by this corrosive substance. Makes them not what they seem to be.
Can we help them?
Well, seems like you're doing your job where you are. We're trying to do ours for the moment.
Do they know about the fact that the shadowy stuff takes up the abilities and weaknesses of the things that it possesses?
You don't know. You're not having the vision. But
Yeah, but that's
he
what
can ask that if he wants.
Yeah, Altair does know about it.
Yeah. He can
Sure.
ask that if he wants.
I'll ask that question.
Alright. Goes. That would explain a lot of things that we saw here. It's not pleasant having to take weapon in hand against old friends.
For what?
I can believe that.
But I'm sure you're getting to know that all too well. Either way, we are having a hard time. We are looking for a way to come back to travel to the material plane, but we are having a hard time locating an active portal that isn't guarded by various beasts or other unholy things. Could you attempt to help us with this? Though seems like your situation is taking you to many places that you didn't foresee.
Yeah, I can help you. How can I help?
Well, we do have an entrance into your world. It was close to you at one point, though now, not so much. We have to figure out a way to get you back. Did you find my help I sent? Well, you don't know what he's talking about.
What kind of help?
Well, We told a strange red man to deviate from his course slightly, and he said he would. The strange red man being Cosmish, probably.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Yeah, so ask about what you can ask. Say, was he in chariot or something? But I don't know what you're gonna ask.
I know. I was thinking out loud. That was me. Trying to remember what he did.
Remember what who did?
The redhead guy. That was with that was with Howard. The hookah was
Oh, that guy. You're trying to remember that guy. I didn't name him.
Okay.
But I can say that you're referring to him, and you describe a similar creature to one of them that is currently standing next to your patron. And he says, so, you've met one of them. Do you know what part of the Feywild they come from?
I don't.
You honestly don't.
Nope. Nuh-uh.
Frustrating. Meeting one of the Fey is quite rare. Do you mention the fact that Lily also came out of the portal with him?
Yeah, I should do that. Yeah.
Alright. He says, oh, I do remember. Don't know if it's pertinent. I'll bring it up anyway. I do remember a well, not dwarven, one of the other small ones. It seems that your patron is having a hard time remembering the word halfling. So you can remind him if you wish.
Been a little short halfling.
Ah, yes, halfling. I do remember a halfling girl exploring around here. That was quite a while ago. Can't quite remember it. You know, time ebbs and flows so strangely here. I can't quite remember her name.
It was Lily, the annoying voice, right?
Lily? Yes, Lily sounds familiar. Feels like a lifetime ago. Yes, she came to visit me. Oh, a few times, actually. She said she was looking for... I don't remember the name. Some goddess or something. I tried the best I could to help her, but I couldn't.
Can't help everybody.
Just quite frustrating. I couldn't even recognize the words she was using half the time.
Yep, that's her.
Oh, well. Seems that you're making some powerful friends. She was quite powerful.
She still
Until
is.
the incident.
Incident?
Incident?
I knew it.
Well, she went towards the... I can't believe I'm saying this. The bog of forgetfulness.
Oh.
Kinda good. Gonna bog her down.
It is where lost memories go. Apparently, even some lost memories from other planes. She went in, she came back, and she was like a child. I couldn't help her.
That explains a lot.
Yes, she didn't really remember anything that I was saying. Just like a newborn. Uh, I couldn't help her, so I left her in the woods. Which, Lily, that is the first thing you remember, being in the woods. And you didn't know where you were, and then suddenly, after a few days of wandering the woods, aimlessly you encountered the weird shadow creatures. He says, it was sad. I thought she was going to die. I'm actually quite glad to hear that she's alive.
Yeah, she's doing well.
Still childish.
Yes.
I fear that we may never be able to regain her lost memories, but perhaps if she ventured to the swamp, she might be able to regain them.
Okay. I will see if I can get her there.
But that may be for another time.
Yeah.
You were at a temple, correct?
Yes.
I need you to get back there. Once you do, contact me again.
Okay. I can do that.
Oh, and for reference, this is my friend, and he motions towards the one that has the weird-looking black creature next to it.
Okay.
This is Far.
Cool.
And his pet creature, we call them fogs. Um, for in your tongue anyway. Fogs are half fish, half dog. And his
Got
name
it.
is Bebub.
Bebop.
Yes. This. And the smaller man says, "Don't tell him my name." And he goes, "Okay." And he motions down towards the small creature. And he says, "This is a leprechaun who I consider a friend." Either way, we will hopefully see you soon. We're going to remain near this area for now.
Not going to mention the book, perhaps?
Isn't the book?
It seems like your patron is ready to cut off the vision. If you have anything else you want to ask.
Whatever happened to that book?
Actually, didn't you steal the book too?
No, it's already back.
Okay, so you gave that back. Okay.
Yeah, I just used it to check a few things and then gave it back.
Okay.
Like,
So
if
you
that's
have the book in your possession. You can ask about it if you want.
Well, he did ask about it before, about the book,
before, yeah.
but maybe that
At the
they want to
time.
know, I don't know.
Because last time, I wasn't ready to hear what was in the book.
Your patron claimed that it seemed like your patron was giving away a little bit too much information, like
Yeah.
going to a poker table and showing one of his cards. He said that you could possibly control him with it.
That's right.
So he said that he wasn't willing to divulge the information quite yet.
Yeah, and if he's not ready, I'm not going to ask him about it.
Alright, do you have anything else that you want to say to him?
No, that's all I can think of right now.
There is one thing that you could ask.
I've tried to think
I'll
of
bring
something
it up.
as well.
I'll bring it up. And I'll say that since he's contacting a powerful deity type being, you can bring up stuff that you might want him to ask, because he seems to have a hard time figuring out what he might want to ask. So you can help him out if you want, but I'm gonna help you out. You just had it before encountering this vision. You might want to ask your patron about that.
Scorpion.
just had it.
Scorpions.
Oh,
Scorpion.
scorpions. Oh, gosh. Well, slow, it's not good. So, yeah, I have these visions about scorpions and rainbows.
Oh, you must have been taking some of that mage weed.
That's what you want to call it, yeah.
That's the name of the plant. Mage weed.
It was pretty amazing.
Really?
I'll be right back.
Oh, was that bad?
Just a second, guys. Just a second. Whoops.
Oh, too much hot sauce.
Was I muted or unmuted? Okay, there we go. Okay, there we go. I'm unmuted now. Hopefully.
Cool. I hear you.
Yeah, so you asked about the scorpion?
Yes.
Alright. So he goes, Yeah, he said about the mage weed and you said amazing.
Yeah.
He goes, that was one of the less fond traits I have of you. The puns. Either way, you still have other redeeming qualities, which I commend you for. Yes, some creatures use it to contact a... Well, I don't know what they call the creatures now. Where did you get the product from, if I may ask?
That you
What
do
particular...
had it?
Howler.
The
Oh,
Howler had
right.
it, yeah.
The small man you were traveling with.
Yeah, you know, it had a few anger issues.
Does he have anger
Well,
issues?
He wanted to kill everything, so yeah.
Yeah, apparently. So he goes, okay. Did he have a particular implement with which you partook?
There was like a hookah pipe.
I think I have a hunch. You may be contacting a creature. I don't know how to describe it. And he goes on to describe basically what Native Americans would call a spirit animal or spirit guide.
Okay.
Basically, you have to partake, and whatever creature it is that you're envisioning is part of it. And you have to go to wherever it is, which is why, because it's in the lore of the Tabaxi, they travel the world. So I sort of tied it in with the Native American style, because that's how I was going with them. They're sort of like Native American-esque.
Okay.
So they travel the world to go find this creature, and they have to slay it in order to be proven as adults. So they usually gain an ability or a quirk, if you will, from slaying the creature. Usually involves something to do with their personality, which is partially where they get their adult names from.
Okay.
So he finishes that description because he didn't know the word to describe it. He uses a word, though, called Wyaken, I think, which is, you can look it up. Some Native American tribes use that as the word to describe the vision quest process, the creatures that you encounter. They're basically spirit beasts. So basically that's what he described. And he says, yours is a scorpion. It's very interesting. Usually means that you are straightforward towards your goals. And that your very essence is poisonous to the touch. Usually not a good sign. But though what I know from your background may have something to do with that. You are not accepted among your family. As far as I'm aware. And you remember in your backstory that you're half elf. You were part of a human royal family, and one of them had a love affair with an elf, which made you basically a bastard child of the family. And they didn't like you very much. So,
Yeah.
it might have something to do with that.
A little bit.
Is what he's trying to indicate.
Okay.
So, he says, I'm afraid I don't know much about the Tabaxi customs when it comes to these creatures, whether or not they allow outsiders to attempt the Wyaken trials. But you've had the vision. It is calling to you. Whether or not you accept is entirely up to you.
Okay.
So basically, in the Tabaxi culture, he basically says that you can choose whether or not to become an adult, but if you don't choose to become one, you're basically ostracized. So, but you're not a Tabaxi, so that doesn't affect you. So you can choose whether or not you want to do this.
Maybe another date.
He nods. Any other questions?
No.
Very
I think
well.
that's it right now.
Do any of you have questions that he might want to ask?
Not that I can think of now.
Alrighty.
No, dude.
No? Okay. He bows gracefully. And he says, until we speak again. And the vision fades. And suddenly, you start having this weird dream about the scorpion again. And then you wake up and everybody awakens. Because it's the next day.
3 hit points.
Yep. You regain your hit points.
Yay. Oh wait, I'm good.
Yeah, you never got damaged. At all. Because I was generous with you and didn't put you in the big pile of people during the fireball.
I was down to 14 out of 60.
Well, your character didn't seem to notice, so...
Thank goodness for that big bench.
Well, either way, you regain your hit points due to your long rest. I assume you're not all... the bed is big. It's for a large creature, and it's a bit bigger than that. Kind of like maybe a queen-size bed, except for a large creature. So it's quite a big bed. I assume you're not all sleeping in the bed, even still. So who took the bench? Who took the bullet?
I did.
Alright. Alatar took the bench. You sort of wake up with a startle as you remember the singer with the words on it saying that you were slow and to return to where you were, stinging you. You sort of just wake up with a start a little bit, and everybody else rises awake at that.
Morning, y'all.
Good night.
What?
Yeah, I genuinely only heard good night.
Thinking it was mumbled. I hit the snooze button. Good night.
Yeah, that's basically it.
Alright. So, you fall back asleep, Lily, and the dream that you immediately have is the vision of all those foxes appearing from the ring of trees biting you.
I'm awake! I'm awake!
Alright,
What does the
so
fuck do?
I'm gonna say that the reason you haven't revealed those dreams to your comrades is because you kind of thought that maybe they were personal, or you weren't sure if they were just dreams or not important. But Alatar at least knows that they're kind of important. They mean something. So,
True.
Alatar, you can reveal that if you wish in character, but that's up to you.
I can tell Lily that. She might want to know. In case she wants to go hug a fox's head off.
Alright. So you can say that in character, however your character would reveal that.
That was work. But does she really want to be an adult, though?
You
What?
also know that information. That might be pertinent. That
True.
she was on that plane for a reason. But she just doesn't remember what it is.
So, Lily, most of your memories are gone because you walked into some weird bog that took some of your memories. That's why you're kind of not as adultish.
I've never been an adult!
She has some of her previous memories, but she doesn't have
And
all of them. So, from what she remembers, she's always been this way.
No, you were an adult once. You just didn't get any taller. The difference.
When I was a child, they called me a quarterling!
Now you're a halfling. So if you're a child, you'll still be a quarterling.
You're a quarterling! Jeez, really?
Well, I'm more like a daughter piece. You're a quarterling.
Okay, so what you're telling me is that I went through some fog and the brain's like steeped out of my ears?
Yeah, pretty much.
Weird! Weird.
You just fought a floating skull, and this is weird to you?
Yes, it is!
She actually knew what the creature was, which is a flame skull, and she
Yeah.
knew how to defeat it after she thought about it.
Mic drop.
Halfling out.
Because she's a paladin, so she knows based on her training.
Yeah, I know stuff.
She knows about undead creatures. I think technically... no, actually you couldn't have, based on the description. I was gonna say, you might have technically if you defeated it with radiant damage, but that's other creatures. Not this one in particular.
Next time.
Some creatures that you defeat with radiant damage, their regenerative properties stop working or things like that.
Oh, that's kind of cool.
But this particular one is different. It's not even weak to radiant damage, this one. So, I don't know. Regular zombies technically aren't either, but I find that weird, so I changed it. But either way, yeah. So he described that you were on the plane of the Feywild because your character was doing something, and they fell into a bog, possibly. Whoever that person was that you were before. And when they came out, they weren't the same, which is who you currently are.
Right.
Might be kind of weird for your character, but I don't know. It's up to you.
Good time.
But either way, I'm sure he, in the essence of time, he goes on to describe what happened, just so that way you don't have to retread everything that we went through.
Okay.
He describes a little bit, basically using his personality, what happened, what his patron described. So you know his patron, in a way, but it seems like his patron more pities you than anything else. But either way, perhaps his patron might have answers for you, if you can somehow communicate with it.
Okay, so you just talk to your patron.
He can, because he has part of his class is to communicate with him.
Right.
So,
I'm gonna wait for you to talk to him.
Yeah.
Era! I need to talk to your god person!
I think she's referring to you, Alatar, except said the wrong name.
Oh, I'm purposely saying the wrong name.
Okay.
Oh, I know.
Alright. Any input?
How do you talk to your god person?
Yeah, I mean, from Alatar. Any input?
Clear my head, find a quiet spot.
Yeah, for you, at this point, it's a little bit different. But the first time took a lot more effort. You had to research it, look through books, figure out the actual ritual to contact someone, and it took a lot of effort. You know that the ritual costs about 1,000 gold, and the reason why you were able to do it is because of your backstory. You had access to quite a bit of money. Though everybody else in this group doesn't know that. They allowed you to research this in lieu of making public appearances that might embarrass them. So, you were allowed to research this, and they gave you a little bit of money to save them the embarrassment of having to deal with you. That sort of thing. So, but then once you actually started succeeding, then they basically said, no more, and you got banished, basically.
Basically, yeah.
How sad.
But you didn't reveal that to any of your compatriots yet.
True. All in due time.
So, it's up to you. You can reveal the fact that the ritual costs quite a bit of money, if you wish. But You
I
do
mean,
know the ritual if she wanted to try it.
she should try it, though. She's trying to figure out who she really is, though, too. It might help us
Though
in the
you
long
are
run.
aware, though you are aware that your patron is trying to get you to pull them into a different dimension where she could be also.
That is also true. They're trying to come to our dimension. That's right. Or to, yeah.
So she could just talk to the patron then, but it's up to you.
I figure I'll let her know. Then that way, in case before that happens, she can still talk to them.
Alright.
And then, yeah.
Basically, you have to buy some really expensive perfumes. You have to buy some really expensive, because the scents are important to get the feel right. Because part of it is to communicate with them without using the means that you're using. Is that you have to
Yeah, how
have
to
the
do the
feeling
food.
of the. Yeah, Lonnie said she had to go for a little bit, but that's fine.
Okay.
Basically, explaining to him so that way he can get the
Well,
feel of his character. Of
before you continue, I need to intersect because I need to hit hay as well.
okay, well, if you want to listen in to the rest of this, I'll just wrap this up, and then I'll end.
And I also feel like it's 2:15. I need to really hit hay.
Okay. Well, if
Oh.
you really have to go, you can go anytime. But I mean,
Okay.
if you want to listen in, you can.
Yeah, I'm not that kind of rude just by just leaving. I always announce it, but yeah, bye.
Yeah. All right. See ya.
Good night, good sir.
All right. So, again, to just help you get into the mindset of your character, what your character would have had to have done in the first place.
Okay.
You had to get the sense right. So you had to get smells from particular plants. To try to get the scent right of the area that you were going to. And then you had to get like a summoning circle set up, which those in and of themselves are
Tricky.
quite expensive for a regular person to make. But for any mage worth their salt, they can get their hands on the materials, no problem.
Okay.
Which you had to go to a mage place where they sell mage supplies and stuff to get them. And you had to spend quite a bit of money to get them. And basically like candles and a particular type of chalk, incense, that sort of thing, to create the summoning circle itself. And then you had to get the expensive perfumes. You had to get seeds from the plants that the perfumes were made from. So you had to get a whole bunch of different supplies just to get to the scent of the Feywild proper. And then you had to get the environment, which means the seeds, and you had to get you had to plant them in pots with particular soil. It was a whole big mess of stuff they had to do just to get prepared for the ritual. And then the ritual itself, it doesn't cost any, like you don't have to put money in the middle of the summoning circle or something to make them appear. It just costed a lot to make the circle, and you had to buy. Yours cost more than 1,000, because you had to buy books to figure out the ritual, and you had to research them. So it took you a lot of time and money to get those books. It took you quite a while to figure out, like a couple of years easily. Like once you started hitting your teen years, then you started looking into it.
Okay.
I'll say, unless if you want it different, but it
No,
kind of
fine.
makes it.
That makes sense that way.
Because you were basically being tutored by yourself in a room for quite most of your younger years due to your upbringing. So yeah, and after the tutoring was finished, then you decided to do your own research to try to gain some powers, and you managed to succeed. And once you succeeded, then they banished you, basically. So,
Okay.
um, you're to do the ritual, it would require a lot of money, and the ritual itself takes about to complete. You have to sit in the circle, no eating, no drinking, no movement, which kind of makes this harder for Lily.
Really?
Um, uh, you just have to sit there and meditate on trying to gain access to the person that you're trying to reach. And the person that you reached was your patron, which uh, really you only had a vague idea of who you were trying to contact, and your patron hasn't given a name.
Okay.
So you don't really know who this is. You just sort of reached out, you contacted something. It said that it had powers when you asked it, and you wanted them. And it reluctantly gave them to you after some thought. So you waited about a month, I'll say,
Okay.
after your first contact, and then you were like, well, now what do I do? It didn't really want to communicate with me. So then you even started buying more supplies to try to do it again. And then after the month was over, then it contacted you again. And those supplies were left behind at the place where, so you don't have them. Because they banished you and they didn't allow you back on the premises. So your summoning materials are still there, probably. So that is an avenue that you could look into. If you wanted to try to do the summoning again.
Okay.
So, and you know what? I'll say that you kind of recognize the area in your vision. Because it's where you're from. Close to where you're from. You recognize the trade, at least.
Okay.
Because your character was from the city of Gaia, which is the desert city. If you look at your map, if you have your map,
That is somewhat kind of.
it's the little sect where the desert is. I think it's called the Shifting Plains, is what I called it.
Yeah.
So that's where your vision was originating.
Okay.
And yeah, that's where your parents live. So if you were in that area, which your group has objectives in that area anyway, you might want to look into that, and the group might want to help you. That's up to them. But either way, so you have all that information that you can base your stuff on.
Cool.
But yeah, like I said, just getting in the mindset of your character might help a little. Like having to gather all those supplies, spending tons of money to get the books and the supplies, and having to struggle with dealing with the patron itself after, trying to communicate with it, trying to get it convinced, that sort of thing. That might help you figure out how you might want to continue the character a little bit more.
Okay.
Just a thought. But either way, I'm still recording, so I'm going to end the recording.
All right.